My name is Liz Daniels, and I teach high school life science and forensic science. And currently I work and teach in Oregon. Prior to this, I taught for 2 years in China, and then I taught for about 8 years in South Carolina, all science. And my husband and I have decided that we want to go back abroad again. So I know you're probably like, why? There's a pandemic. Whoa, what's going on? So I thought I'd make a video, kind of talk about the process and what my expectations are. Okay, so I'm thinking of either the Middle East or Japan, maybe South Korea. And so I started just kind of Google searching American schools or American international schools in these areas, and if I found any and they had vacancies, I would email them my little packet. I'll talk about what my packet is later, and just wait for a response. In addition to that, there are middlemen, agencies that can link you up with a school, and some are free and some you have to pay for. Now, I got my first teaching job through a free site, and all you do is put your documents on there, and then you can look around for assignments. Now, mind you, this was 5 years ago or so, and so things have changed, and depending on what company you go with, you could have access to more schools. And so I noticed at this company, Teach Away, that I couldn't find a lot of offerings, especially for what I'm looking for. So I looked around, and there's other agencies, but you have to pay for them. Teach Away is free. Fortunately, I got my first job through Teach Away. I didn't have to pay for that agency. This time around, I might end up having to pay if the email cold call type emails don't work. My backup plan is to do the agencies. One of them is called Search Associates, and it's about $200, and that lasts until you find a job or for 3 years. You put all of your information on there, and they have a lot of schools on their database. So really what you're paying for is access to the database for the schools to be able to find you and see you, and maybe some better packages would be on there because there's more variety and a wider range. And then there's another agency I'm looking at called ISS. It seems like a lot of the Japanese schools are on it, as well as the ones in the Middle East. The ISS Scroll site is $75 for a year. And it's the same thing. You put all your information on there, and they connect you with schools. So I'm kind of like going back and forth on if I want to use those sites or not. But that's an option. However, I did get an email back from a school that I sent a packet to. The school is in Kuwait, and I have a meeting with the superintendent next week. So I'll do another video about how that goes later on. I mentioned a packet. I call it a packet. It's really just a Google folder with everything that I think a school would ask for. It would be my CV/resume, a more casual bio, a cover letter that's more formal, direct to the point. It talks about like my teaching history, but with like a little bit of flair, and references, and I think that is it. So those are the things that they normally ask for in an email, or even on those middleman websites that I mentioned. Those are like some of the more basic things. And so I just made sure I wrote all those up. They looked great, they were updated, and I have them on standby. If I find a vacancy, I just immediately send it all, and that's what I call my packet. In addition, I have another folder with my more personal and very, very important documents for the visa process. Because after I find a school and accept a contract, then there's a whole long visa process where they need all of these important documents, everything, birth certificate. They probably need things authenticated, which luckily I'll already have those documents authenticated because of the first time when I went to China. There'll be some new things because when I went the first time it was just me and my husband, but now we have a 2-year-old, so we'll probably have to get some of her documents authenticated. And yeah, so all of that, I have like copies in a Google folder, but I also have the actual documents in this big folder that we just keep in case we need them. Okay, so why are we moving? This all sounds great, you know. Okay, you have your documents lined up, you're emailing, but we're in a pandemic. What are you thinking? I'm hopeful. There's vaccinations. I'm hopeful that at least one of them will be viable and I will feel comfortable with taking it, and then the borders will open and I will be able to leave with my family. I'm very hopeful. A lot of these jobs don't start until late August or early September, so I'm very hopeful that at that point we'll be able to leave the country safely and feel good about it. In addition, we always thought that we would travel again after this job. We wanted to stay here for maybe 2 years and then find a new post somewhere else and stay there for a while and then maybe go somewhere else. And for our daughter, we want her to experience different cultures and we want her to learn another language, and she's at the perfect age to do that. It just depends on where we go, but I think a second language is just gonna set her up for the future, and I myself wish that when I was young I could have learned a second language as well. So we're excited about that. Yeah, it's a little scary with the pandemic, but we're staying hopeful and we are praying about it and just not living in fear. And of course we're gonna make, you know, logical choices, and we want to be in a good environment for our daughter, so we're not gonna jump onto anything unless we feel 100% positive about it. Okay, so what am I looking for? I would like a good package that includes plane tickets for me and my dependents, insurance for me and my dependents, housing, a decent salary in an area where I mean, we'll probably have to spend, but that we can save. We want to make sure we can try to save up a little nest egg while we're there. So hopefully we'll be able to save money when we go abroad. And obviously the school, so I'm looking for an environment where I can thrive, I can learn, and they can learn from me, and that I feel comfortable in, and the students feel comfortable with me, and I'm able to make those connections and really feel free to teach how I want to teach. You know, of course they'll have their own standards they want me to follow, but I want it to be another learning experience, just bringing more tools into my teacher toolbox. That sounds so like a teacher to say, but I guess that's me now. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about is interviews. I have my interview coming up next week and I'm super excited but also super nervous. It's my first one in about 3 years. Fast forward now to this situation. I had quite a few interviews then, and I'm kind of out of practice now. I'm trying to think of the normal questions. So normally they'll ask, and I'm kind of walking through it since I have the interview. I think it'd be a good idea to kind of get this on camera so I remember, I can look back at this. Why am I going abroad? What is my goal as far as going abroad? Like, why do I want to teach abroad? So I think usually they ask those questions because a lot of people use teaching abroad as a way to like get to a country because they want to party or whatever. I actually, I want to learn about the culture and I want to increase my teaching prowess. Like I said, the goal is to get as many tools into my toolbox so that I am able to cope with any environment. I can go into any school, any classroom, and be able to just go and connect and get things done and feel organized and teach the students and get them to learn something that's relevant. And I think that doing these abroad experiences is a really good way to do that. Now, you don't have to go abroad to do that. You could be flexible. Like right now, everyone is being flexible wherever they are just because of the pandemic. But in addition to that, you also get to learn a new culture, experience new things, new food, new people, people you would never meet. And so I think that's just a really great experience. And if I can do my same job but just do it in a different country, like why not? Yes. Let's see, what else do they usually ask? Oh, the normal. What are your strengths and weaknesses? So this one is always like, I hope they don't ask that, because it's kind of like, what kind of weakness am I supposed to give you? Like, the one that strengths, you know, of course you give the normal vibe, flexible, creative, personable, you know, stuff like that. But my weakness, I usually mention how I like to finish projects. So once I start something, I must finish it. And this happens a lot in my lesson planning. So a lot of teachers, they gather together all their lessons, and then once they get to a point, they never really change them from year to year. Now, not all teachers are like that, so I am not like that. I have some lessons that I've kept, but they have changed. Like every year they change slightly, or I find one that's way better. I'm constantly fixing and changing and making it better and doing more work. Is it necessary all the time? No, but I feel like it empowers me and it makes me feel like I'm doing for the students and I'm making it interactive and fun and relevant. And so sometimes that can take time away from my personal life. So you see, now that's actually true, I didn't make it up, but it's also a weakness that is like, oh, this girl, she's gonna keep working and working, she's a workhorse. Yeah, so I like to say that one. It's truth, and it's also like really a strength. What else do they normally ask? Oh, they'll ask like, what's your favorite topic or subject or project to teach? I usually have like a list in front of me that I could reference. I have so many projects. I really like the one that I do in biology, the cell organelle campaign. I started that last year and I've really like changed it up, and I feel like it's really fun. Like, it's gonna evolve over time. It's not where I want it to be, but I think it's a really good way for the students not only to learn about the cell organelles, but also to be able to talk to other students about that information, because we know with learning, once you get to the stage where you can also share that information with someone else, you've graduated to a mastery of that content. Anyway, so I really like that one. I'm kind of just talking through, so I don't know if this is gonna make it into the video, but here we go. Oh, another thing they'll ask about is dealing with discipline. So for me, I'm not very tough on the students as far as setting up many rules. I do try to make it so that they don't have time to think about being a discipline problem. And I try to make it so that we're doing things that they want to do, and so they just don't have time to really think about like, how can they, you know, act out today. I try to like keep it interesting, keep it funny, keep it relevant. I try to encourage them for input, and just little things like I have a class playlist. I play Spotify, and at the beginning I tell them they can tell me if I need to add any songs to it. It's all of our playlists, you know, I want them to listen to songs that they like as well. And so I like the kids to add on to it so they can kind of like get a bop, you know, that puts them in a good mood, a good space, and they feel like, you know, it's a good environment. So little things. Before the pandemic, I would use proximity, making sure I'm moving around the room so that they don't get used to me standing in one spot and then think that they can get away with like doing whatever they are in the back corner or whatever. Yeah, so those are some things I think that they'll ask me about. I have taught AP, so they'll probably ask about AP Bio. And yeah, so I'm excited to go on this journey, and if you're watching, then I'll keep you posted on what's going on. Anyway, so this will be fun. Thanks for watching.